The amended Approved Inspector regulations create a new definition of what constitutes commencement of works. This video will discuss this new definition and the process required to confirm the commencement of works. This process is more rigorous than the current process and the definitions are more clearly described. If you haven't already watched our overview video on the amendments to the building regulations, a link is in the description below. Under the new regulations, clients, principal designers and principal contractors will need to understand what works are deemed as commencement for their project and notify the approved inspector. The proposed date of commencement will also be required. This is not the same as the current start date and does not affect transitional provisions. Initial notices are only valid for 3 years from the date on which the notice is served. After this period, a new initial notice is required and the project will be subject to any revised approved document guidance or regulatory changes. This is known as the lapsing of an initial notice. The new definitions may also have an effect on whether the project is deemed to have commenced under other legislation, such as planning permission. However, it is not for the building control body to confirm this. Commencement of works is dealt with under Regulation 16C. The definition of commencement varies depending on the scope, complexity and the description of works. For the purposes of this regulation, there are 3 categories of buildings: complex buildings, non-complex buildings and horizontal extensions, and other building work. Where work consists of the construction of a complex building, work is to be regarded as commenced when the foundations supporting the building and the structure of the lowest floor level of that building are completed. A complex building means a building which is to be constructed on the same foundation plinth or podium as any other building or structure. A building which has more than 1 story below ground level. A building where its proposed use is primarily as a public building, where the public or sections of the public have access to the building, provided that the building has a capacity for 100 or more visitors. In this context, a public building means a shop or shopping centre, premises where food or drink are sold for consumption on the premises, including a nightclub, social club or dance hall, a stadium, theatre, cinema or concert hall, a sports ground, an exhibition hall or a conference centre, or a hospital or premises for the provision of healthcare. So some examples of complex buildings would include a 2-storey basement project, whether this is domestic or commercial, restaurants with an occupancy of over 100 people, and podium buildings which run under 2 separate blocks of flats. For non-complex buildings and horizontal extensions, work is to be regarded as commenced when the subsurface structure of the building or extension, including all foundations, basement levels and the structure of the ground floor level, is completed. This would apply to a number of projects, for example new build houses, domestic extensions and some new office buildings. Where the project consists of any other building work, then it is to be regarded as commenced when the initial work is completed. Initial work means work which the client considers amounts to 15% of all of the work in the initial notice. This may be difficult to define at an early stage and is a completely new concept. Some examples of this would be where 15% of a vertical extension, such as the addition of a floor, is completed, 15% of a loft conversion is completed, or 15% of an office fit-out is completed. The 15% description would need to be stated on the initial notice. For example, 15% initial work for a loft conversion could be for the installation of the floor-bearing steels and timbers. In summary of Regulation 16C, the definition of commencement varies depending on whether the type of building work being carried out is considered a complex building, a non-complex building or horizontal extension, or other building work. Under Regulation 16B, it is now a requirement for the person intending to carry out the work to notify the approved inspector at 2 key stages regarding start of and commencement of works. 1. At least 2 days before the day on which building work starts, the person carrying out the work must give notice to the approved inspector shown on the initial notice relating to the building work, setting out their intention to start the work and the date that work is to start. 2. Not more than 5 days after the day on which the work is to be regarded as commenced, the person carrying out the work must give notice to that effect to the approved inspector. If the approved inspector is not satisfied the work is to be regarded as commenced, they must give the person carrying out the work a notice to that effect within 4 weeks and must give the reasons for rejection. Please remember that the 2-day notification is prior to the date at which any work starts on site, and this is different to the second notification, which takes place not more than 5 days after the works are regarded to have commenced, as described in Regulation 16C. We know that these changes introduce a level of complexity to the commencement and notification processes, so we will be able to discuss with you what this means for your project when you request a fee quotation or make an application. Please take the time to watch our other videos about these new amendments to the regulations and the Building Safety Act. We will of course be providing further guidance and information as and when it becomes available. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and if you have any questions, please contact your building control provider using the details that are on screen now. Thank you for watching.